forewarned weather with Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy.
Let's talk about the weather right now with Alana.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until the morning.
No.
I'm here to fill you in. Hey, we've got hot conditions as we head into tomorrow. That summer heat making a big comeback for your Wednesday. I hope you're ready for it. Could be our 6th triple-digit day of the year.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Really?
We average 8, so to be expected, but the heat's going to be here. So let's begin with what it looked like from the Bonneville Salt Flats. Hey, dry conditions out there. This was coming in. Thanks, Drew. We appreciate it, those clear skies. And we've got such dry conditions. You know, keep in mind, June and July, below average precipitation in Salt Lake. August, we haven't received a drop. We could maybe change that as we get through this week, but you saw the sun out there. Satellite radar shows really quiet conditions as we're sitting underneath a ridge of high pressure that continues to build and will center up over the Beehive State into tomorrow. Nelson Peak, our ABC4 camera, showing that sun when it came up this morning. A little bit of haze, but overall, it was a hot day as those temperatures jumped above average. We saw that in northern Utah, and we saw it in the south with those numbers climbing. We've been extremely dry, 38 days without measurable precipitation in Salt Lake City, 38 in Logan, 23 in Cedar City. We are begging for some wet weather, but we could just get some gusty winds and lightning. We'll see what happens as we make it through this week with our next monsoon push. The midweek brings fire concerns with a new red flag warning posted for the Wasatch Mountains. This goes into effect at noon and will hold until 9 p.m. Southwestern Wyoming, southern Idaho also underneath that threat, and it's going to be the westerly winds. They're going to pick up. We already have dry conditions, and then we're going to have significantly above average heat. It's not our only fire concern. As we step back here, look on the eastern side of the state into the swell and the central mountains and the higher elevations throughout central Utah underneath a fire weather watch. This means Thursday, as we get the potential of storms with lightning and dry conditions, this will likely evolve into a red flag warning. Now you see the Uinta Mountains underneath this. Not great news for that Beulah fire, because here come those fire concerns with winds that will switch directions and pack a punch. Time-lapse video from our Black Desert Sky Camp 110 as the can you believe that? Just sizzling in southern Utah. They could see peak heating today. Tomorrow it will be peak heating along the Wasatch Front, but I still think tomorrow's going to be hot down south. 96 for that high in Salt Lake. You know, 93 is our average, so we jumped above that today after several days below average. 108 in St. George, 102 in Green River. Lots of 90s, and these numbers get even hotter as we roll into the midweek. 24-hour temperature change just shows that that warming trend is underway. We're coming off of a weekend with below average temperatures, and now here we are back at it with the summer heat. Overnight, we don't get much recovery, expecting upper 70s by the time we close out the newscast, low to mid 70s for those overnight lows, and then clear skies as you head out the door tomorrow morning, and that sun will warm things up, and it will do it quickly. Here's where we do have a subtle shift. I love to see a little wet weather potential. It's just a slight chance, but you're going to notice we open the door for the possibility of some meager moisture as we get through the remainder of this work week. Our storm threat for tomorrow really displays that our ridge of high pressure is still in control as the highs over us. But on the northern fringe of that ridge, northwestern Utah has a general thunderstorm threat as a disturbance rolls through. Into Thursday, that general threat becomes more widespread. It includes the Wasatch Front, goes all the way to I-70, stretches into Grand Staircase. And this is where we get concerned because we're very dry at the surface, so we could see some gusty winds and some lightning. I don't know. We could see some moisture. We could not. We'll definitely keep you forewarned. Here's why we're seeing these conditions. So a clockwise flow around this area of high pressure centers up for the midweek. So we get really high heat, above average temperatures with triple digits along the Wasatch Front. But the high doesn't stop there. It continues to pull to the east. It's a Four Corners high, but it pulls a little further east. And with that clockwise flow brings the uptick in monsoon moisture. With that heat, we see the potential for isolated storms as that trough digs to the south. It's going to lift over the Beehive State, so we keep the potential for some active skies as we roll into the early portion of the weekend. So changes brewing. Futurecast kind of locks in on that. Watch the clock in the corner of your screen. Here we are by tomorrow afternoon. Northwestern Utah, possibly over the south central mountains and the Uintas, high base thunderstorm activity, lightning, gusty winds heading into Wednesday night. We don't clear out. We're going to stay pretty unsettled. And then into Thursday, a lot of the activity will be east of 15 over the mountains, but these storms will likely roll into adjacent valleys, and we could see some thunderstorm threat. That's when we're going to have fire concerns in eastern Utah. Friday also brings potential for some isolated storms throughout northern and southern Utah. I told you earlier that extreme heat warning is in effect for Glen Canyon noon, 104 to 106 there. Perseids peak tonight, but with the moon illumination, I don't think you'll be able to see too many meteors. If you give it a shot, I'm wishing you the best of luck. 90s for tomorrow, 102 in Salt Lake, 103 in Moab, 107 in St. George. It's going to be a hot Wednesday, and as we look at the next 7 days, we cool slightly with an increase of cloud cover in the south by Thursday and into Friday. That should knock temperatures down a few degrees to the upper 90s with the chance of isolated to scattered storms. The Wasatch Front, high heat tomorrow, then we start to back off. That monsoon moisture brings more clouds. Seasonal temperatures by Friday, scattered storm potential for the close of the week, which we don't want to happen because it's the first Beehive Blitz.
Right.